And we are live. Thank you for coming back into us in studio after the tour around SONAS. And we have some questions in from Richard. And I'd like to welcome Richard from SONAS on our Zoom call today. Hello, Richard.
Hi, Gwen. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And yourself?
Very well.
Good. You're enjoying our show all morning?
It's fantastic. Yeah, you're doing a fantastic job. So it's great to see this initiative in the flesh taking shape. So well done to you and all the team.
Brilliant, but they're all working really, really hard in the background. If you could just see what I'm looking at now. I'll have to post a picture from my side or Adele's side later on so you can see all the support we have. And again, Richard, thank you for your support as well. It's been one of our main sponsors throughout the event. So I'm going to kick off with some questions. And my wet room is very wet. Help. I think that refers to water from the shower everywhere. Okay.
So I suppose one solution that your questionnaire could consider is a deflector panel. We would describe these as a wet room panel, which is essentially a piece of glass with an aluminium profile, and they come in various dimensions. So you can screw that to the wall, and that will sit between the shower and the rest of the kind of the bathroom area. So your wash basin or your toilet. So it's a fixed piece of glass, no moving parts. And they can be configured into different arrangements, so you can actually have one on the side and one on the end depending on the layout and the size of the showering area, or as a minimum you can just use one deflector panel, and that will just separate the water from the shower hose and the shower head, just splashing out from when you're showering into the rest of the bathroom. So even though it's designed to be a wet room, yeah, the reality which people only kind of really realize when they start to use them is that if you don't use some sort of a screen or a deflector, the whole bathroom does get quite wet after showering, and it can be a little bit uncomfortable to use the rest of the bathroom products. So a very popular solution is a wet room panel.
And do those panels come in different sizes, or are they all the same size?
No, they come in various sizes. So the range that SONAS offer would be a range called Aspect. We do two ranges actually, one called Aspect and one called Studio. The Aspect range is available with various sizes. It's a universal design, so it starts from 700 millimeters and it goes all the way up to 1400 millimeters. So, and it has various sizes in between. So again, you really need to just, you look at the size of the showering base, the platform area, as to where you generally stand to shower, and then we configure the deflector panels to suit that. So there are various sizes and they're universal in design. We do offer a secondary a range called Studio. This will be a 2.1 meter glass, so slightly taller. And this has more of a configurable solution to it as well. It has different types of glass that can be connected with turn panels, both on a hinge and also a fixture turn as well. So if anybody wants to, visit our website or visit our showroom, they can see all these products on display, and it's very easy for our advisors to demonstrate those to you in the showroom.
And you mentioned, Richard, there about the different size of floor shower tray. What's a good gap to allow to get in, or maybe what's the smallest comfortable gap that you'd recommend for people to enter the shower?
Yeah, so if you're talking about in a wet room panel situation, the smallest wet room panel that we offer is 700 mil in width. So a comfortable entry point in terms of size will be 500 millimeter. If you can give bigger, that will be better, maybe up to 600 millimeters, but certainly 500 millimeters we would consider to be the minimum. So to put that into, I suppose, practical terms, you would need to have a shower area of 1200 millimeters in order to put a 700 mil panel and a 500 mil access opening to walk into the showering area.
Okay, brilliant. That's great to know. So you discussed different handle option colours on cabinets. Can I order a spare set to change it if I get tired of the colour, somebody asks?
Again, as a standard offering within the catalogue and specific ranges from our Scandinavian collection, we do offer different handle option colours. So we have a matte chrome, a black and a gold. When the client will select the products, it generally comes as a kit. So we will supply that colour handle that they selected with the unit. If somebody was to get tired of something, it's not something I have currently offered in the brochure as a standalone item you can buy. But we're very accommodating in SONAS, and we like to have happy customers. So if that person wanted to contact me privately, I'm sure we can find a solution for them.
Okay, brilliant. And with COVID, nobody wants to touch anything. Are there any options out there that that would help with that?
Yeah, so SONAS have a full range of touch-free solutions, and this is something that we've been amplifying in response to COVID, particularly with specifiers and architects and contractors for commercial washrooms. So we do a full range of sensor taps, which have an infrared sensor control, which means you don't have to actually touch the product to activate the water flow. And we also offer solutions for, for flushing toilets. So if you're selecting a wall hung toilet, for example, and that will go with a fast fix frame, and the flush controls that people would normally and ordinarily press to activate the flush, we can offer those with a sensor as well. So you just have to wave your hand in front of the sensor. So no touching required. So we've seen over a 200% increase in touch-free taps in response to COVID. And certainly, there are other options as well, probably more suitable for commercial washrooms. So we're seeing a lot of hotels, pubs, restaurants, anywhere that has a kind of a public element to the washroom. We're getting a lot of inquiries from people to upgrade the bathrooms into a touch-free solution.
Good. Okay. And then here's another question in, and this is from Joe in Kilkenny. Lighting is important. How do you suggest I light over my mirror in my bathroom?
So there's two options that we can offer. So within the range of mirrors that SONAS sell, a lot of those products would come with integrated LED lights as standard. So the advantage of LED is that it's a white light. It's also energy saving. So, a bulb, an LED bulb that's integrated into one of our mirrors could last for 50,000 hours. So it's a very sustainable, energy efficient product. We also sell lights as an extra as well, which can be fitted on top of mirrors or on top of some of our bathroom cabinets. Separate to that, I suppose, lighting is a product, and you will know this, Gwen, from your interior design piece, that lighting is something that's probably far more integrated into design now, and it's no longer just about a bulb in the ceiling and maybe a light over a mirror. So if somebody's renovating a bathroom or self-building, I would encourage them to speak to some lighting specialists as well to look at the total lighting provision for the bathroom. So whether that's task lighting or mood lighting, but certainly from the SONAS Bathrooms perspective, we do have a range of LED lighting solutions that cover our products.
Brilliant. And I suppose one of my pet peeves is seeing a spotlight over a shower head. So you end up, showering in the shade. So note to that one too.
Yeah, it's a common mistake, and it can easily happen. But yeah, you need to consider where the rain head or the fixed head will go, and that your light is not sitting directly above, as this kind of deflects the light and causes some shadowing. So very common mistake.
Absolutely. And here's one from Maeve in Athlone. Can I have two rain heads in my shower, his and hers?
Yes, you can. So if somebody wanted to have two rain heads, they really need to be considering using what we would call a built-in concealed valve. So the concealed shower valves come with different diverter options. So in that situation, you would be picking a valve that would have a three-way diverter that can run two outlets at the same time. And in that situation, you could be controlling both shower heads at once. So if you wanted to have a his and hers configuration, or you can have them running independently as well. So there are options to do that.
So you could actually have both on at the same time if you wanted.
Potentially, yeah. So it depends on how many outlets that you want to feed. So the more outlets that you have, so fixed head, hand shower, if there's two heads, for example, there are solutions available within some collections.
Brilliant. Okay. I currently have an awful toilet, brown pipe at the back, etc. Is it possible that I can change that and have a wall hung one? What's involved?
So if you want to change from what sounds like a close couple toilet or potentially a low level toilet pan on the floor, to put in a wall hung solution, you need to have a void somewhere in the bathroom. So that's going to be a concealed space that you can insert a fast fix frame system. So that's essentially a metal frame that gets inserted screwed to the floor onto the back wall, and then you cover that with plasterboard and then tiles, and then you can hang your wall hung pan from the frame. So yes, you can have that solution, but again, just a little bit light on kind of detail. So again, a picture and a slight, maybe a small drawing that can be shared with us in SONAS, and we can certainly evaluate that for you. But based on what you've said, I would think it would be possible.
Okay, so more questions coming in. You can send in pictures as well, and we'll send them on to the SONAS team. It's a personal question, really, not to you, but as in personal choice. But I'm going to ask you anyway. Would you regret taking out the bath out of your bathroom?
That's a question directed to me.
Yeah, it is. I think it's somebody thinking about removing the bath and afraid that they'll regret it at a later stage, and they're asking, what do you think about that?
All right, okay. So that's a very common question that we get asked in the showroom. We see a lot of customers in a refurb situation where they have a choice to make between a bath and a shower. There are solutions we can offer which give you, a shower bath effectively, which gives you the benefit of having both. But for the majority of customers who are faced with that decision, I suppose an important question is, well, how often do they use the bath? And if they're not using it and it's effectively a redundant piece of equipment, well, then there should be no regrets in taking that out and installing a larger shower, which will get use every day. So in terms of regrets, I don't envisage people having regrets to do it. A question that sometimes gets asked is about, house valuations and how will it affect my property if I ever want to sell it again. And I suppose what clients need to consider is, the type of buyer audience that they will potentially have for their home in the future. So, for example, if you're living in what would be considered maybe a starter family home, where you would expect a couple to buy and maybe have young children, in that situation, if you were to remove the bath and have no bath whatsoever in the house, you may just reduce the audience, the potential buyer audience for that property. But if it's a case that somebody would be attracted to the property, a professional couple who don't have children, don't need to have a bath or want a bath, well then that having a large walk-in shower would actually be probably more of a benefit. So I think it really comes down to the clients. They need to consider how often they use the bath, and if they're not using it, well then it's effectively it's a waste of a space.
And also, I suppose, if they're ever going to move is the other question, isn't it? People think about it, and ask these questions, but it's never even on their horizon that they are going to move. Yeah. So that's another one to consider, isn't it?
Well, that's it. And of course, when people do sell property and move on, often the new people, who will buy the property may have their own aspirations and design ideas around kitchens and bathrooms. So it may be something that they might be more than happy to reinstall themselves if they require it. So I don't think people should live with their bathroom in a way that's not satisfying them based on what might be at some point in the future. I think get the bathroom right that works for you and your requirements, and then you can always, let somebody else look at reinstalling a bath if they wish.
And talking about baths, are there different heights to baths?
Yes, there are. So a standard bath would stand about 510 mil from the floor, and that would be just a conventional depth bath. But we do have baths that we regard as super deep. So the internal depth on those would be deeper again. So advantages would be that in a standard, kind of size platform of say 1700 by 700, which would be a standard size bath. If you go for an extra deep bath, you get a more generous bathing area within that same footprint. So yes, there are different depth baths.
And is the side higher, Richard, or is it actually just the bath that's deeper?
The overall height of the bath will be higher as well, but the internal depth on a deep bath is deeper. Yeah, of course.
And that's like the one we saw you sitting in the video there a few minutes ago.
Oh yeah. So again, that's something that we strongly encourage for any visitors who come to the SONAS Bathrooms showroom. We advocate a try before you buy approach. So we would often, if you're in our showroom, you will see people being encouraged to get into the bath and try it out and make sure that it feels comfortable and it's the right size for them. Because again, we want a happy customer at the end of the process. So it's important that they engage with the product, touch, feel, and compare the different options that are available. So yeah.
And I suppose the same should be said about shower doors as well. If you're going for not the panel that we spoke about earlier on, but there's a couple of different options, isn't there, in shower doors?
Yeah, there's actually many options in shower doors, and I suppose there's lots of, I suppose, scope in terms of putting in a shower and the type of shower enclosure that you use. For some clients, if it's a refurbishment and they're restricted based on, say, current positioning of a shower, often that may determine and dictate the type of shower door that they can use and the space that they have. But for those who have a blank canvas or the opportunity to kind of start from fresh, we would always encourage people to, again, get inside the shower enclosure, get the elbows moving both ways just to make sure that it fits and it's comfortable. Because often people will spec out a shower and specify it too small. And when they actually go to use it, it's not big enough for their requirements. But again, different doors, sliding doors, hinge doors, pivot doors, they all have different openings. And again, for the individual client, depending on their shape and size, some shower doors might be uncomfortable to access in and out. So it's really important that people try those before they buy.
And I suppose the other thing about that as well is we look at plans. Sometimes people find it very hard to envision what they look like in reality. And sometimes moving a door before the house is even built can enable you to have a bigger shower if you go in and figure out that the one you have is too small. Or get your design team to look at it and see how they can configure it and get the biggest size tray in is I think, a very good option that you offer to clients.
Yeah. And again, that's something that we would, try and take the client by the hand, give them some advice in terms of, sizing and things to consider. High level decisions are something that we probably encourage quite a lot, that people are thinking about what they want to achieve, what result they would like at the end, but well in advance, so that they can start to maybe make some of those early decisions at a high level before significant build is done within the project. And that way they have more flexibility in terms of getting the result that they wish to achieve.
And that brings me on, interestingly, to the next question, which is, you mentioned first fix, high level decisions needed. What's first fix?
So first fix is a stage in a build where, the trades, the builders and the plumbers would be putting in, pipe work or provision for pipe work, electrics, all the things that kind of go in behind the wall and before external or, the internal finishes of the wall and the tiles are done. So if I go back to say, we spoke earlier on about a wall hung toilet and a fast fix frame, that would be a classic example of a first fix high level decision that you should be making early in the process. Don't come along when all the bathrooms tiled and then advise your plumber or installer that you'd like to have a wall hung toilet, because effectively it's too late at that stage. Other considerations would be, again, showers. We spoke about a built-in shower, and you had a question from somebody about having 2 shower heads. But again, a standard first fix application for a lot of plumbing installers would be to leave 2 pipes sticking out of the wall at a 150 mil center, and that will take an exposed surface mounted shower. And that's fine, and that's probably the majority of what the market will actually select, and very practical. But if you wanted to have a bit more complexity to your showering solutions, you really need to be considering putting those inside the wall, and that again is a first fix decision. Things like wall hung furniture, for example, very popular, really adds an additional sense of space within the bathroom because the unit is up off the floor, but the wall needs sufficient grounds and sufficient support to take the weight. So again, communicate these high level aspirations early in the process. The color that you eventually pick and the size that you go for is not so relevant early in the process, but just having that kind of worked out, certainly be advice that I would give.
Excellent. And I know that you have, we're going to wrap up very shortly, but you are offering online consultations now, aren't you, to anybody that has concerns about going into your showrooms?
Well, again, in response to COVID and, all the effects that that's had on businesses, one of the responses that SONAS Bathrooms introduced was taking our consultations from a physical experience in the showroom to an online platform. So clients can actually book an online consultation through a simple form on our website, and one of our showroom advisors will facilitate a call very similar to what we're doing here on Zoom, and we will actually take you through the kind of high level planning process.
Brilliant.
Our job is really to help you around product selection and features and benefits of the various product options that we have, but we will still give you some high level advice around planning and things to watch out for. So we can actually conduct that over Teams or Zoom, and we can even take it, from the PC onto a phone, and we can actually walk around the showroom and actually show you products and open and close and touch and feel and do all of that stuff as well.
Thank you, Richard. That's brilliant. Everybody can find you on their website. All our links will be on ours as well. Up next, we've Colour Psychology with Adele, and we'll be back live then in studio for Q&A. Thank you.
Bye, Gwen. Thank you.